The year is 1999. The ever notorious Y2K bug was ready to strike, Seth MacFarlane's Family Guy debuted, and Smash Mouth's second and most successful album, Astro Lounge, was released, featuring a now national anthem of the internet, All Star. But I was 7 at the time. I didn't care about that. I cared about when school ended so I could run home and fire up this bad boy, to play a game that was going to receive critical acclaim, sell millions of copies, spawn a hugely successful franchise, and inspired a generation of kids all over the world to try this shit for real. My name's Richie, and of course, I'm talking about none other than Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. So, let's get straight into it. Publisher Activision wanted to sign Tony Hawk to a skateboarding game as they felt that was an untapped market in the video game industry, and also the fact that he was lighting the skateboarding world ablaze as he won the X Games Gold in both 1995 and 1997, whilst also being the first person to land the 900. So it only seemed fitting that the person who's absolutely fucking insane at what he's doing would be the cover athlete of the sport he's representing. At the time, the vice president of Activision, this guy, stated that the feel of the game was to reflect Tony's signature style in both feel and look, which is where this guy wanted to use a similar style to Top Skater, a 1997 skateboarding arcade game made by Sega, an intense mix of acrobatics and hardcore technical skating, with Hawk having a hand in development, stating he always wanted to create a video game that represented the reality and excitement of professional skateboarding.
Really, the only hope I had for the game is that skaters would be proud of it. I thought if I can get a skater to buy a PlayStation and play this game, that's success.
Going as far as using mocap and voicing his character, lending his voice to sentences like this, and the graphics were fantastic for 1999. Have they held up? Not really, no. But if you ignore the fact that good old Tone Malone's face, oh shit, that's the name of a porn star, isn't it? Oh, I mean, how do I know that? If you're listening, Mum, please don't Google that. Cheers. But I think if you ignore that Big T-Dog's face looks like the bad guy from Men in Black, you're gonna have a good time. But his character wasn't the first model in the game. That honour belongs to Bruce Willis, when he lent his likeness to Apocalypse, a third-person run-and-gun shooter that definitely stood the test of time. Don't question me on that. And when developer Neversoft was given the task to create a skateboarding game, they simply said, we don't know how to make one, but you've given us a ton of money, so we might as well try. So they reused some assets of the game, including Bruce Willis's model, textures, and most importantly, the physics engine. Created from scratch by Neversoft, the engine was utilised in order to provide the acrobatic and hardcore technical skating stated previously, and in doing so created a solid control scheme: arrows to move, X to ollie and go faster, square to flip, circle to grab, and triangle to grind. All of these required a directional button to be pressed, but pressing different directions performed different tricks. This was oh fuck. I can't fucking say it! This was inherently easy to pick up and play, but difficult to master. It's what made the game so addictive. The need to learn everything and the feeling of successfully landing a trick or combo was incredible for the first time. But apart from it boosting your self-esteem, which god I needed at the time, the game rewarded you with points that would be accumulated whilst also filling the special bar, which allowed you to perform special tricks, and also cue this orgasmic sound whenever you perform the special move. This in some games may feel overwhelming, but due to the simplicity and the depth of the control scheme, this is why the tutorial in this game is so good. Being dropped into the warehouse, arguably one of the greatest first levels of all time, it allowed me to learn the game at my own pace whilst also being surprised at what I can and cannot do, and not being forced to do anything I don't want to, due to having everything the game has to offer in such a small area. We're talking rails, we're talking hills, we're talking half pipes, quarter pipes, big drops, little drops, cardboard box, the point goals, the secret tape, the level specific goals. It didn't look like skateboarding, but due to the designs of the control scheme, it felt like skateboarding. Especially to a kid who has never seen a skateboard in his life. It allowed me to fully understand the feel of the game in such a short space of time. I felt as though that this was mainly because of the sounds used. Skating on concrete sounded different from skating on a half pipe. Grinding on a rail sounded different from grinding on a curb. Ollieing each property had a unique sound, and that made me want to skate it all. The scary thing is, the game managed to teach all of the basic mechanics in just 2 minutes, and that's it. After this 2-minute orgasm that is the first run, in career mode you collect tapes to upgrade one of your 10 playable characters that you selected prior to starting the career mode, each with their own signature look and different stat build. Would you prefer the extra speed that Tony Hawk provided, or would you prefer a more all-rounded approach by the use of Bob Burnquist? Do you wanna wear a backpack? I don't know how that's really gonna help you in terms of like progress. If you want to look cool, you can be Chad Muska. Cool, whatever.
Muska, Chillin'.
The decks and trucks also played a huge part in the feel of gameplay, increasing or decreasing speed for turning ability. But for me, tight trucks always felt like I was going faster, so I always picked them. Gotta go fast. I was 7, let me off. In career mode, after completing a certain amount of goals over the course of a career, you began to unlock various different levels, ranging from the school, the mall, the skate park, downtown, the downhill jam, Burnside, and a hidden level, Roswell. It's a secret. The level designs were varied enough over the course of the game, you wouldn't really get bored because of all the new areas available to skate. It's like they reinvented the world we lived in, to be some sort of alternate universe in which skateboarding ruled over all, sticking quarter pipes in the middle of schools, kickers in the middle of cities, and converting an entire dam into a skatable downhill halfpipe. That doesn't sound any bit safe. Completing the game provided a player with many rewards, unlocking a couple of new characters in Officer Dick and Private Carrera, who is 100% definitely not a porn star. Trust me on that. Also, unlocking the Bale videos, which shows various skaters messing up. The opportunity to unlock individual pro skater videos was available if you had the time to complete the career mode 10 times. Once with each character available from the beginning provided a unique look at the skaters in real time, making the avatars you skated with hours on end feel more real and relatable because they're a real person in real life. And this could have been the first point of contact in terms of a child being introduced to skateboarding for the first time, and potentially adopting it as a hobby. This created a boom of skateboarding culture, as many kids who played this game quickly became real skaters, and in turn professionals. While some, not so professionals. It provided me with one of the most enjoyable gaming experiences I've ever had, whilst also being a genuine learning experience. Understanding the names of the tricks and gaining an insight into popular skaters at the time. Was this game perfect? Absolutely not. There were graphical limitations all over the place. The worlds felt empty, it was overly short and a little repetitive, and maybe since playing all of the sequels, it's a little bit simplistic, but on the whole, that's not going to stop me from coming back to it every so often. I feel as though I'm missing something. Probably not. Ten songs. Just 10 that became synonymous with gaming and skateboarding on the whole, due to the limitations of the console not allowing any more data onto the disc. Little segue. The gaming consoles of the 5th generation were extremely limited due to the amount of data that they were allowed to store, especially that of the N64, the main rival of the PlayStation at the time. It was only able to store up to 64 megabytes of data for an entire game, so when the PS CD-ROM rocked up in its bitch, it was fairly rare to hear fully officially licensed songs on a game, as many games had their own original soundtrack to bypass this issue. See here, and here. And after compression of all the files on the disc, the game textures, the noises, the JPEGs, all of that, I don't really know. The last thought a developer had before this game was released was, let's slap a few of my favorite jams on this game that I managed to rip from a brand new CD rewritable from this new software Winamp and see what happens. And when it all came together, it was like hearing color. It was like seeing sounds.
I can feel the power! Yes! Yeah!
AIM, Aquasky, the Dead Kennedys, the Ernies, Evinrude, Primus, Speed Dealer, Suicidal Tendencies, The Suicide Machines, Unsane, and The Vandals. All of these tracks being absolutely perfect, but one song managed to outshine the others. This one. Superman by Goldfinger. I used to reset the game until I could skate to this song, and at one point I refused to play the game to any other track. I really didn't care about annoying people. The gameplay alone was absolutely fantastic, and so was the soundtrack. I still listen to it today. It shaped my musical influences for my entire life. But when you paired the gameplay and the soundtrack together, it created a truly iconic moment, in that this experience managed to transcend video games and skateboarding into something greater than they would be on their own, and throw anything related to it into pop culture superstardom.
A big reason that I'm still here, that I'm still even relevant in this world, is because of that series. I mean, for sure, it's the reason I'm standing on this $1 million ramp that I get to skate every day.
This game was captured in the hearts by mostly all who played it, and went on to create one of the most successful game franchises in history, selling 30 million copies and spawning 14 more original editions. Some of these more successful than others, and none better than its direct sequel, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Neversoft did a great job in developing these games. They began to go downhill and run out of steam when Project 8 was released in 2006. And if you search for anything new in the development cycle for the team, you're shit out of luck, due to them going defunct in July of 2014. Developer Robomodo was tasked to create new Tony Hawk's games by Activision in 2009, recreating the classic Tony Hawk Pro Skater with extremely mixed results, and producing Ride and Shred, with the peripheral skateboard being the main selling point, being overpriced and unresponsive at best, and receiving overwhelmingly negative reviews. The biggest task they received was ultimately adding a new installment to the Pro Skater series. After 13 long years, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5 came to be, and the hype surrounding it was huge. What's the worst that could happen? Just wanted to say, if you managed to get to the end of the video, thank you for watching. It means the world to me. And if you don't mind going clicking the good old subscriber button and becoming an honorary member, I can't get my fucking words out, and becoming an honorary member of the Carlton Club, that'd be absolutely, positively fantastic. Anyways, I've got loads more content coming on the way. Some Tony Hawk's related, some other video game related kind of stuff. That's the kind of mood I'm feeling in right now. So hopefully stick along for the ride. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.